Hey everyone. Alright, I'm doing a graphical update, um, trying to figure out the art style of the game. And remember, this is very much inspired by Intrude, that art style. But of course, I'm taking things to a much different, a much higher level on that respect. So I've been experimenting with the art pipeline that involves voxel art. And what I'm finding is that the results are actually better than I was thinking they were going to be. You can, there's still stuff that's lacking, and there's a lot of areas that still don't have lighting, and lighting, of course, is a task in and of itself to make sure that I get all of that right. Look, right. Last night I was up pretty late, just toying around with this art pipeline. Now the art pipeline, when it comes to stuff that is light mapped, is a bit of a pain in the butt. But when it comes to stuff that isn't light mapped, it's actually pretty straightforward. So things that are light mapped are things that are like if I show lighting only, these are textures that are generated on the fly. Well, these are generated. These are pre-compiled textures, not on the fly. Sorry, that's completely wrong terminology. But what you see here is, yeah, that's kind of the lighting now. Uh, Showing this off lit. There's still places where I can get away with using terrain and brushes, and in those cases, I have materials that I had already worked on that are that I built, that I made in GIMP, that are like low resolution textures. Um, they added a little bit more graininess to it. My only fear is that stuff like this might clash with the art style of this, but I think they actually go together fairly well. So anyway, with that said, uh, this is the first time you can actually kind of get a look at what the game is going to kind of look be like with art. Now, or at least as far as environment art, there's still quite a bit to go, and on this front. But I think I'm going to focus on this until I get um, a decent tile set so that I can get used to the pipeline and produce artwork at a fairly decent rate. And yeah, this will take a lot of. I bet you didn't remember that the player has a flashlight. Didn't need it up until now, but yeah, the player's had a flashlight for some time. Um, yeah, the reason why the lighting looks weird at the moment is because these flat sheets don't absorb light at all. And one of the neat things about the way I'm doing this is that I am see how the origin is very predictable on where it is when you I only want to see static meshes when you select them like that. See, that's one of the reasons why I like doing things with flat sheets like this, is because it allows for me to just basically I can just replace the wall. Turn off lighting so that you can see it. Um, I can just replace the mesh very easily. You just do this, and for some reason a lot of these were rotated. Now I was also worried about these angles But it turns out that the angles aren't really that big of a deal at all. Honestly, is go on a 45 degree, and you do this. Get down to a small enough grid, and yeah, you just plop it on there like that. Maybe, yeah, kind of do that, and then you do that, and a player will never know the difference. That's actually extraordinarily easy to solve compared to what I was thinking it would be. um, so I'm just going to be making tiles like this now, and just sort of using them to replace the walls. It's it's actually turned out to be a little bit easier than I was expecting. The only catch is that um, working with Blender is kind of like uh, blindfolding yourself with acid. You know, maybe Blender's great. I just, it angers me that somebody went through all of that effort and didn't pay attention to popular tools at all. Like, it's just a UX design fucking massacre. Like, why? I don't understand. Why would you do things that way? Why don't you just like look at what other people have done and then just replicate that? There's no reason to have gone off on any other tangent. So all right, now I'm accidentally arting some stuff. Now you remember I'll go over the art style of Intrude a little bit more, but honestly, at this point, now that I'm able to kind of like establish this look and feel, um, it's actually pretty straightforward. That I think I'm going to be going with uh, this style. Now, I'll have like different colors, different like the dark base I think is gonna have more of a brown tone to it. It's kind of gonna be like a callback to the Earth base and No Rest for the Living. That's kind of like I'm gonna try and kind of make it look a little bit like that. So I definitely I want your brain firing off neurons that say, "Wow, you're playing Doom right now. You're playing Doom, dude. It's like Doom, but the graphics are like voxels instead." So you're gonna see kind of a combination of of looks along those lines. Now I can use the voxels to also make doors. Actually, since the door is a moving object, I won't even need to do light maps for the door. That'll actually, yeah, all dynamic objects don't require light maps. So that makes the art pipeline extraordinarily simple. So like here's a crate right now. Basically, I take this crate, I export it as an OBJ, and then I take it into Blender, and then I do a bunch of different steps where I use its automatic unwrapping for UVs. I get rid of the pilot and make sure that the new material that I baked from the UVs that I generated, uh, I end up getting this object in the Unreal 4 engine. Now these objects that I currently have right now do are were just me testing. We're just me experimenting with the idea, right? This area right here kind of gives the best idea actually, but um, like the crate was exported with a texture that's too low resolution, so it kind of has some things. So I'm gonna have to go through and kind of replace stuff and get rid of these like tests and actually commit to this. I think this is it. I think what you're looking at right now, outside of like these, the gray stuff still being here, you're looking at the art style of the game. I mean, if you can kind of use your imagination, like You see how, like, just imagine if the floor matched the rest of this, and you'd be looking at how the game's going to look from an art perspective, right? So basically, I took Intrude. One second. I took Intrude and yeah. So I'm very much inspired by this, and basically I'm doing like a full out no bullshit 3D version of this, like um, for this first set, and then after that I'm gonna start looking at uh, Doom 64. I'm gonna be making things that weren't there before. Like I plan to have like light fixtures and stuff, and yeah, I mean, this is it. This is what you're looking at right here. This is going to be really interesting. I think I have never really quite done anything like this before. Um, it's actually pretty interesting to me on so many levels because I've never worked with voxels before, but voxels make it very possible to do things very quickly. You get pixel art, and one of like the hardest things about pixel art is getting things to be tangible, whereas voxels, you have geometry that makes the pixels tangible. Um, when you're doing pixel art, you you have to almost kind of like learn another language. But with this, you know, if it exists in space and time and you can see it in front of you, you're not invoking some I don't know how to describe it, but with that said, yeah, this is definitely a thing. Like I have got to pursue this, so I'm gonna be pursuing this. I'm gonna get the art. This area will be arted out first. This is the hub, and then the hub, and then I'm gonna do the starting area is gonna get art, which I'm thinking that the starting area is gonna be an interesting thing to art out. I'm not really sure how I'm gonna do the vistas and stuff, but basically, I'm gonna focus maybe the next 2 weeks just on this, making it look as good as I can. Maybe even having the guns. The guns shouldn't be too hard. They shouldn't be too hard to do. They're gonna look very much like Trove, if you've seen that game before. Um, I want to try and get them to look more like this though, so I might make the guns a little bit higher resolution. So like, yeah, that's another thing too about my the voxels that I'm doing are higher res than most voxel games. I just like burped. It's okay, PewDiePie does it, so you know, on a professional level, I can make videos where I burp. Um, yeah, see this just light just leaking through here. All right, I'm gonna continue this, and if I can get this fully done, then that's gonna be a really huge win, I think. And then I'm going to yeah, and then I'm gonna go through the extra time and energy to get the other areas to kind of have their own like look and feel to them. Yeah, but this place is the dark base. I mean, this is the hub, but this is right outside. The Forgotten Bulwark is what this area is, and I'm gonna make like tiles for a giant wall kind of stuff. And then once I have the tiles, right? Once I have these tiles, enough of them, I can start doing other things like making like backdrop vista stuff that are just voxels, like really high, low density voxels for things off in the distance, and Yeah, this is something to pursue because I think this is gonna work. I think I've got an art style here that can work. The real test though is gonna be to see what the guns look like. You know what I mean? Like, uh, because the guns are gonna be using are gonna be doing that. Obviously, I'll take a look at Trove gun slinger. So I was looking at my guns are gonna be higher res. A little there's gonna be a little bit more attention to detail with my guns, but that's kind of the idea. You're gonna get stuff that's a little bit. There's no shotgun. Like here's a sort of a shotgun or some kind of a. I'm not even sure what that is. But you see how easy it is though to like make these kinds of weapons. Like the plasma rifle might kind of end up looking like that. All right. So with that said, I'm pretty much yeah, the voxel stuff is working. And if I have a little bit of resolution, I can kind of get away with stuff that um, I'm able to just sort of really like work this and have fun with it, and I could do all kinds of stuff. And uh, the Unreal 4 engine is just fucking phenomenal. I mean, one of the things that's neat about this is like Unreal 4's lighting is just so good that it can make even stuff like this just look fucking amazing. And also too, I'm going to like have lighting, like things, you know, light fixtures that have emissive passes, and it's so easy to do really badass shit in this tech. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna end the video now, and hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. You'll probably see an update later today. I have a feeling that I could probably get this entire level arted out. I mean, this is just the hub, but I'm gonna try and get this area as arted out as possible today. But I'm going out to a goth thing tonight, so I'll probably be drunk and uh, heavily distracted. But tomorrow, there's this bar like right down the street that does like goth events. It's fucking awesome. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna end the video here and done.